Peace, and welcome to The Breakdown. I'm your host, Clarity. You know it when you see it. No, you don't. Some people just seem to be born with it, while others seem to not even know it exists. Oh, to be fly, to be fresh, to have flavor, to have swag. All just a few popular terms for the elusive, intangible human trait that we call cool. And when it comes to African Americans, our unique brand of cool has worldwide appeal and universal presence. So what exactly is coolness? And how has it endured and evolved over time? And why do Black people seem to epitomize the essence of what cool is all about? You know we're gonna get into it. That and more right now on The Breakdown.
The Breakdown.
From entertainers and athletes to politicians or even the average person on the street, it's no secret that Black people epitomize the essence of cool.
Swag is a way of life.
When it hits the fan, it's almost like my blood turns into ice water.
Cool is something that is mostly associated with entertainment, with fashion, but it's something that is ingrained even deeper in the way that we present ourselves. It's not a coincidence that Malcolm X dresses in a Brooks Brothers suit. It's not a coincidence that Marcus Garvey dresses in royal regalia and carries it off in a very austere way because he's embodying that tradition of cool.
So while cool is often expressed in the way we dress, the way we move, or the way we turn a phrase, the question remains, what exactly is it? And where does it come from?
The birth of the cool, like everything else that matters in this entire world, can be traced to Africa. It is us reflecting our ancestors' presence, how we stand, how we present ourselves. It's not a performance. We brought that over with us.
The cool that I'm talking about is a cool that is cultural. It is something that comes from our grandfathers, from our uncles, from our mothers. It's something that we acquire as a part of our culture.
It looks into West African cultures in which composure, control, and a kind of nonchalance under pressure is the standard operating procedure.
Perhaps another part of the reason those outside of Black culture often miss the mark when trying to capture African American cool is because the essence of cool goes back generations upon generations, centuries before slavery, back to West Africa and the ideas of cool rooted in African culture, such as the Nigerian concepts of otutu or efeezi, which literally translate into English as cool.
In the Yoruba tradition, there's this concept known as itutu, level of mind, that's associated with water, with something that's cool. It's almost a self-possession that is related to control over one's body.
It also kind of rooted in ceremony, in water, in chalk, in essences that are purifying and cleansing.
Etutu, in its literal translation, you're speaking specifically about being cool, being calm, and being relaxed, about how you maintain a particular disposition in a situation where you find yourself. Whereas efeezi is you now taking elements to show how successful you are, how stylish you are, how cool you are, how relatable you are.
Even after such an arduous journey, the African sense of cool remained. It evolved into a critical mechanism for surviving plantation life, one that has endured within Black America for hundreds of years, all the way up to the present day.
During the Middle Passage, enslaved Africans come to the United States, and cool makes its way through plantation culture. And even if someone doesn't have or has limited control over their own body and their own labor, you still can't control the way that people do things, and that's what cool is.
My grandfather was born to men and women who were enslaved. He migrated to Mississippi. If he wasn't cool, he could die. That's how immediate danger was. If we're not in control, they get control. The awareness that we have to have, even today, I think that's what they had. I think that's where we got it. And I think that hypervigilance was probably inherited from people who, again, had to be hypervigilant and ready always to make a move. And you had to appear as if you weren't.
From fashion to food, from movies to music, the essence of cool can be seen everywhere. Yet at the same time, it cannot be found on a shelf in your local convenience store. You just can't buy a can of Cool. Or can you? As it turns out, the element of cool is so elusive that in the early 80s, for example, corporate pop culture marketers employed what they called cool finders. People whose job it was to keep the company relevant by hitting the streets, soaking in the latest trends, and bringing their findings back to headquarters, where they would be incorporated into the company's strategy for branding and marketing.
You have a capitalist engine that needs to be fueled, and the best thing to sell is cool, is a concept of cool. White culture gets their concept of cool usually commercially. So it's something that's usually done by copying what is done by black culture and looking at it as, oh, this is something I can put on, something I can wear, something I can buy, something I can listen to, as opposed to something that I live. Black cool is something we live. Mainstream cool is something you buy.
Swag. It is an effortless approach to life that we have that is so innovative and so captivating. We don't have to go out and watch that on television. We don't have to buy it. We don't have to borrow it. We don't need anyone to tell us how to do it. We're born with it.
On so many occasions, mainstream media personalities have wondered out loud how this or that black person was able to keep their cool under so much pressure. Be it President Obama brushing off his attackers, or this athlete, or that public figure. Considerable attention has been given to the black person's ability to stay cool under circumstances that would have caused others to lose their cool. Little do they know, the special brand of cool demonstrated by these African Americans comes from countless generations of refinement. It is their expression of a culturally necessary personality trait that was birthed in Africa and perfected over centuries by people of African descent in America and around the world.
It goes through every aspect of our existence, not just entertainment and fashion, but also in the political realm and social realm as well.
I look to my people for the context clues. I'm not necessarily looking to any other races to tell me how I should define my swag and my black identity. I always tell people, when God made me, he broke the mold. There will never be anyone else to walk in the likeness of my swag and what I bring to the table as a proud African-American man who is all about style.
Yeah, he got some swag. Now, from ancient concepts like Efisi and Otutu in Nigeria, to the Reconstruction era cool of the early 1900s, to the bebop and jazz era of the 40s and 50s, to the funk, disco, and rock era of the 60s and 70s, and the 1980s hip-hop culture, all the way up to present day, African-American cool has led popular culture around the world for generations. As far as anyone can tell, that influence will continue to grow and flourish for years to come. That's it for now. I'm Clarity, and I'll see you next time on The Breakdown.
The Breakdown.